Welcome back to Evolve. Today we're going to be interviewing another polyglot. Her name is Taun. And how many languages do you speak and how did you learn them?
大家好，我是多恩，我是韩国人，认识你很高兴。Hi, I'm Taun. So I speak 3 languages. First Korean and English and Chinese Mandarin. For English, I started to learn English from elementary school, maybe like 8-year-old. It's like a public education. So I started to learn English from that. And for Chinese, it's interesting because I started to learn quite early due to some drama.
Wait, what do you mean drama? Like, how did that start your journey?
Yeah, when I was like 8 years old, my parents were watching a Chinese historical drama. It's called 황제의 딸 in Korea. And it's a story of people in Qing dynasty, which is like historical drama. And then I saw that. And I found that it's not Korean drama. And then is a Asian drama, but it's not Korean. So I asked my parents that, what is this? And they say it's Chinese drama. And then I remember that I was so fascinated by the like clothes, traditional clothes, or China have the like big nature. It's also different from Korea. So I kind of fascinated by that like exotic but friendly like kind of like scenery. So I start to know more about China and I start to like informally learn Chinese from that.
When you say informally learn it, like what was the actual process?
At the time, I didn't think that it's kind of learning. I just copy their pronunciation. And then I just watched that drama or other Chinese drama like 10 times and I kind of memorized. And then I start to learn like formally Chinese in middle school. So there was a like after school class which I can learn the second foreign language. At the high school, there was a class, like formal class. We can choose like either Japanese, Chinese, and Spanish, I remember. So I chose to learn Chinese, of course. And then I was so obsessed with the Chinese grade because I love Chinese so much. So I wanted to get a highest grade throughout the whole school. So actually, I'm not sure if you know that Korean high school students are very obsessed with getting a good grade in school. The important subject was like math, English, and Korean. But I was more into learning Chinese than other important subjects. So I studied a lot and I got a highest grade. The reward was actually I could visit the Chinese native teacher's house. I was like, I should go there to experience that local food, all that. So
I really liked how you mentioned about imitation because in our other language videos, and for me, that's always been one of the ways that I could improve my accent and pronunciation.
Yes.
Even when I'm on my own in the shower, whatever, just talking to myself in whatever language. So the fact that that's how you started it as a kid is incredible.
I studied Arabic quite a few years ago. I actually learned a lot from friends initially. I became very fascinated by the root of the language and words, and that's something else that glued me to kind of studying languages. Chinese seems like a very interesting language. It's structurally very different to European languages.
When I learned English, I really felt that way because there is a clear separation between I, you, and they, it. Whereas Chinese and Korean, I don't know Japanese, but we just omit object or subject. When I first learned the Chinese grammar, I felt, this is so unstructured grammar compared to the European language. But you can really like get it by the context. So I think this is the kind of big difference. Does it make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
For sure. And just adding, like, I think what you mentioned about like European languages, English, French, and Spanish. If you want to say, I'm hungry. In French, j'ai faim. I have hunger. In Spanish, tengo hambre. I have hunger. In English, I am hungry. But in Korean, Japanese, and Thai, you can just say,
배고파요. I'm just hungry.
Exactly. So, 오나카 수있다. Hiu in Thai. So I think that's a big difference. But in Chinese, though, how does it work?
好饿, which means very hungry.
So there's no I?
No I.
Ah.
It's not necessary.
See,
So
that's the interesting
in
thing.
Arabic as well,
Yeah.
Ji'an, right? Or something.
Joanne. Yeah.
So that's a key difference. I think Jack really
Joanne.
highlighted there between some of the Western languages, and the more east you go, we kind of understand the context without having to say I.
Yeah.
Or you, because in Korean, I know that if I said like, is it no?
No.
No, it means you, right? But that could be quite rude.
Yes.
Exactly. So I wasn't actually saying it to you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying to describe it. Using you and being so personal in the West, it's quite, it's not as bad really to say, oh, what are you doing? But then it could be interpreted in a too personal way.
Yeah.
Okay, so while learning Chinese, did you actually have any experience living in a Chinese-speaking country?
Yes, of course. So because of my huge passion about Chinese, I went to Taiwan as an exchange student when I was in college. Originally, I wanted to go to China, but I heard that Chinese school only allow foreign people to stay within like foreign people's dormitory. So they are separated local people and foreign students. So I wanted to like meet real local people there. So I chose Taiwan. I spent 1 year in Taiwan, and it was like real like wonderful time there. And then it was kind of huge turning point in my life. Already 10 years ago now. And at that time, it was the K-pop or K-drama was slowly spreading to Asian country. And then Taiwanese people also are influenced by that. But I was kind of lucky because at that time, there was not many Korean there. But still, Taiwanese people learn Korean and watch Korean drama, and then they are slowly get interested in Korean. So every time I introduce that, oh, I'm from Korea, and then they start to like, can I do a language exchange, or I can be your guide like that. So it was kind of like huge welcome, but at the same time, sometimes I was a bit overwhelmed by that like huge attention. But yeah, it was really fun experience. So I think that's why I immersed myself with Taiwanese culture at that time. Spent time with only Taiwanese. So that's why I pick up Taiwanese accent.
I've heard that like it's apparently some people think in China, like when they hear the Taiwanese accent, it's kind of like beautiful or something like that.
Yeah,
it's
cute or like beautiful.
Could you show us like an example of like, could you do like the mainland versus the Taiwanese?
Okay. For example, like I can say like I'm hungry. So, 好饿 like you add like 哦啦，你吃饭了啦, or like
sounds like a cuter version.
Yeah, cuter
of like
version,
the,
and
可爱, no?
Yeah,
so,
好可爱哦. Like 可爱. You can say yes. You can say like 可爱, but in Taiwanese version, I think 好可爱哦, like that kind of like very soft.
I know you said that your language really grew a lot during those times. So what were you doing mostly? And just how was that for you?
I was basically attend the class in Taiwanese. So that means I need to read and write Chinese. And then the Taiwanese character is not simplified version. Is do you know the traditional version, which means that there's more, how do I say, the
strokes?
Yeah, more strokes.
Letters,
yeah, in letters. But I think I focused more on speaking and listening because, you know, just college student, you go there and then you kind of like want to enjoy, not just only studying. So I focus more on hanging with Taiwanese friends, which led me to improve my speaking skills and listening skills.
Were you nervous when you first moved?
I was so nervous. That was my first time to leave country for that long. I have lived my whole life with my parents. I remember that day when I left my home, I was crying. Yeah, I was so nervous. And at the time, my Chinese was not that good, so which made me more nervous at the time.
So given that you were that nervous, now that you sit here today and you look back, how do you feel now? And what would you say to the younger version of yourself?
Don't think about like, oh, I should do it like perfect way. What if I do wrong? Just enjoy it and then meet as many people as possible and just enjoy it. Because I was so stressed, I cannot speak Chinese well. I was quite introvert.
So what you said there about immersion is key, in my opinion, and it's what really helped me to get fluent in French. When I did my year abroad in Reunion Island, and there's some videos now with the people I studied with, we were mainly surrounded by locals, and that forces you to learn. And it is really uncomfortable at the start when they're speaking really quickly. And also what you said about speaking. When you're around them, you can't practice speaking by studying vocabulary on a list or a book. So you have to do that, of course. But by immersing yourself like you did and constantly speaking, it's definitely, in my opinion, the best way to expedite your language learning.
Yes, definitely. So I remember that whenever I start to speak Chinese, I couldn't really stand that awkward like silence because my Chinese was very slow. So they need to like take time. I would rather just give up. But you need to like overcome those stages,
The crazy thing is we're speaking to Taiwan right now about her third language. We're doing a podcast in her second language. And I wanted to ask, how did you get so fluent in English as well? I kind of forgot that we're speaking to you in your second language. So could you give the backstory and like how your English got to this level? Because, we've been in Korea for quite a while now and we don't always find people like you. So,
first of all, thank you very much for saying that. Believe it or not, I'm still not that confident in speaking English. I'm just 토종. We say in Korean 토종, which means you're just like born in Korea and raised in Korea, like your full life. So I have never experienced like overseas experience in English speaking country until I went Singapore for my PhD. So I've lived in Singapore for 2.5 years now. That is when my English speaking journey really started. At first, I couldn't really speak English. Really. And at that time, there was a COVID time. So all the class was in Zoom. So, you used Zoom, right? You need to speak unmute to speak something. So I never pressed that button, because I was so afraid, speaking in English. Anyhow, I need to communicate with my supervisor. She's also from the UK. At first, I couldn't understand her accent. Korean learn American accent. So I just record her conversation and then I listened that 3 or 4 times. And then I asked her, how should I do? I cannot even understand what you're saying. Help me. And then she said, just listen to BBC podcast. So she said that whenever I cook or whenever I'm get ready for something, I just listen to podcasts in a passive way. Yeah, hearing. So, okay, good idea. So I start to listen podcast, BBC podcast. And then it really, really helped me a lot. Whenever I go to, whenever I'm in the subway or whenever I do a shower, I just listen to podcast. And slowly my English was starting getting better, I think.
I think that's something that Rafa and I connect with as well. We both listen to music to learn different languages. And it's interesting because sometimes we listen to kind of Moroccan, Algerian music, which is French and Arabic combined in the language. So
do you also listen to that radio or podcast?
Yeah, I do actually. For Arabic specifically, news is a very good thing to watch because also culturally, people usually are very attuned to the news. It's just even in Arabic, they have a saying, "Shukh barak." It means, what's your news? So they love news.
Oh,
so
I
yeah,
see.
if if you know what's going on, it's like you can connect with people better.
Yeah, for example, in Korea, like we've got Yangguk Yango, which is like
yes.
British English.
Yeah,
and I realized early on that I had to change that in order for people to understand me. Like if I ordered like a hot coffee or tea, in Korean, hot is what? Tatatang?
따뜻한.
Tatatang. But a lot of the time they see that I'm a Wegugian, so they speak to me in English. So, okay, they're happy to speak to me in English. They would say like, do you want it hot or iced? I would say hot. And they look at me like,
What is
boyo,
hot?
bo-
Yeah.
hot.
We say hot. In
Exactly. Because
American
it's like
way.
미국 영어, it's the American, so
Yes.
it's like hot. Then they understand. So I just, tatatang.
It reminds me of that. Do you know 영국 남자?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that also helped me to get familiarized in British accent as well. I watched that.
Also, yeah, regarding what you were saying about like music and podcasts, for me, just YouTube. I listen to sometimes French YouTubers who are just like reviewing food.
Oh,
And I love the way that they speak, you know. Aujourd'hui, on va tester le McDo en Corée du Sud. You know, like today we're going to test McDonald's in Korea. It's not very like super intellectual stuff, but you pick up daily phrases and conversations that like news is good, I would say, for very formal situations. And then YouTubers, you're learning like for example, the Evolve podcast is a great way for non-native speakers to hear and practice your English.
Yeah.
Yes, and you can also learn that kind of expression like
대박.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
My accent generally is perceived like very well around the world. People usually say to me, I can never really understand English people. They speak too quickly. But you sound like the book. When I came to Korea, it was just a complete reversal for me because nobody understood my English.
I can see that.
All right, so you get. I was trying to order an Earl Grey from upstairs, right? Please, can I have an Earl Grey? What? Like there was just blank stares.
Raina, Tao's friend Raina, who's been on the podcast before.
She came in and she said, Earl Grey. And I said, Earl Grey. Yes, okay. And I was like,
wait, again?
Earl Grey.
Earl Grey.
Yes.
Earl Grey.
So I basically need to relearn English now.
That really reminds me of when I first arrived to Thailand. The subway system there is called the MRT.
Yes.
And I lived in an area called Rama 9. So when I entered the taxi, I would say like, can you please take me to MRT Rama 9? Alana? What? Alana?
What's that?
There's like, what does that mean? And then that's me when I first arrived to Thailand. Now, I get into the taxi. ไปพระราม 9 นะครับ
Oh.
Beep. Press the meter straight away.
Done.
When you say, can I go to Rama 9 MRT? He'll say, 1,000 baht, 500 baht, which is very expensive. Thanks again, Taun. 정말 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Shishi.
So tune in to Evolve. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you very soon. Ciao. À bientôt.
再见.